Chin Tuck Boxing, baby.
Make sure you like and subscribe.
Yep, you know what time it is, man. This is, of course, your favorite channel, man, CTB. It's Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy, Jay Slay. So what up to him, man?
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
Most definitely. You know what you guys are tuning into, man. This is a 7-week call here. Chin Check. So we rock you guys' chin with boxing news, boxing information, boxing rumors. Sometimes we give you some money in your pocket by giving you the odds of the fight. But this time we're trying to figure out who's the duck, man. Who's the duck in this situation? Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin. Rumors are Frank Martin was a duck. He ducked the fight for Tank Davis. That's what they saying. Other people saying that, Shakur Stevenson wasn't trying to pay him. It's a whole mess going on over there, man. What's your initial thoughts when you hear all these news, man?
So I'm gonna go both ways with it. So if it's for Tank Davis, then he not a duck. Because sorry, I'm taking Tank Davis fight over Shakur Davis. Shakur anytime. I mean, Shakur Stevens is a great fighter, and I think him and Tank Davis is neck and neck. Who's the best? As far as the money, as far as building your marketability, as far as what you can be if you're able to beat Tank Davis, that's the bigger upside. Yeah, everything. And then them being on the same platform. And ain't pound for pound, and they on the same platform. So it's gonna be a lot easier to make that fight. So if that's what he's got lined up secretly and we don't know about it, I'll take that fight too. I'll take either one. But I would definitely take a Tank Davis and Frank Martin fight. As far as the money, like I said, at CTB, we don't like to get too much into the money. But it's been rumored, and it's just a rumor because we really don't know. It's a rumor that Shakur Stevens was gonna receive $6 million and Frank Martin would receive $1 million, which would have been his highest payday. So some people are calling him a duck because he was gonna get $1 million, but that's only 16% compared to 84%. And that's the same argument he had with Devin Haney, as far as Devin Haney trying to pay him 25%, I think, to 75% for the fight they had, and he said that was bullshit. So you paying somebody down to 16% when you was complaining about 25% for a man that had 4 belts at the time. So who could really pull that? Now I do think Shakur Stevenson is the bigger draw. He's the A side in this fight, so he deserves more money than Frank Martin to me. I think he's the bigger draw in between these two fighters. But 16 to 84%, if that is true, then I don't think Frank Martin is the duck. But as he has said that
I'll tell you real quick why I don't think that's true. There's 2 reasons why I don't think it's true. Number one, if it is true, then that's not something that I think Shakur Stevenson is responsible for. Shakur Stevenson is not his own promoter or manager. That'd be Bob Arum doing what Bob Arum usually do. You know what I'm saying? So, I ain't gonna say I don't think it's true. It could be true because I do remember Bob Arum actually offering a while ago when he offered Sean Porter $1 million as well to fight Terrence Crawford.
So is Bob Arum maybe the problem is? Like I said, because it seems like Shakur cannot get the big fights he want to get. We hear the rumor about Devin Haney, can't get the fight. He said he want to fight Tank Davis, can't get the fight. He's calling out a couple other guys, Lomachenko, who's on his own promotional banner, that Bob Arum can't make that fight. Man, this Frank Martin fight seems to be falling through. So it's top rank dropping the ball.
It's most definitely Bob Arum. Like I said, if it is, like I said, I don't talk about the money too often. I really don't like getting into that because I always seem to be, like I always tell everybody, I'm a pro boxer. I'm gonna always take the side of the fighter. I'm gonna take the side of the person who actually taking the punches. So for me, having a promoter to get in the way of a fight that I want to see, to me, is asinine in itself. So I'm gonna sound like I'm biased with it, but it's you gotta look at the commonalities, man. The commonality is Bob Arum seems to be the same person over and over again who's getting criticized for not paying people across the other side of the street. It's, like I said, he offered Sean Porter, who at that time was a 2-time champion at that point in time.
Yeah, two-time
champion.
147.
Mandatory, everything. He had his own name. He's been on pay-per-view, everything, and he still only offered him $1 million. So for me to say that he offered Frank Martin $1 million, in my opinion, that's actually high considering his cheap ass Bob Arum who actually offered the contract. Like if he offered Sean Porter $1 million, I thought he'd be offering Frank Martin somewhere between $300,000. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't have any of those accolades that Sean Porter had. But
the thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The thing that I think Bob Arum and Top Rank has to realize is that they're having trouble with is when they make a fight, they put the numbers in, and what the numbers is, that's what they pay. And they just stuck on that. They don't look at the upside. If you think Shakur Stevenson is a star, just like in life, you have to invest into your business. Like if me and you were to start a business, we would have to invest into that business and put money into that business before we make the money. If I think Shakur Stevenson is the real thing, and I can get a guy like Frank Martin on his that he can put on the show and make his marketability go up. Even if I come out even on that fight, lose a couple of dollars, if I know this guy gonna be a pay-per-view star, he's gonna bring me millions and millions of dollars for the next 5 to 7 years down the line, why wouldn't I put the money into him now? And I think Top Rank don't see that, and that's why they kind of dropped the ball with Terrence Crawford to me. They dropped the ball with a couple other guys, and I think that they look at the numbers. This is what it's gonna be, and we're not gonna go in the red for a fight. And I think sometimes you have to go in the red for a fight sometimes when you got a guy that's on the brink of being a superstar.
I already called it too, man. I called it. I said Shakur Stevenson was going to be like, if he had the same problem Terrence Crawford had at 147. But Terrence Crawford was looking for those big fights and was calling out for those big fights. Bob Brown was giving him the scraps that he had left over. The only thing I see that's different from Shakur Stevenson and his position than when Terrence Crawford was PBC had all the 147 pounders on their side. You know, Bob Brown has a decent little, you know what I'm saying, stable over there, 135 pounders. He has a decent little stable. He got, he got Kaboses over there. He got Lomachenko over there. You know, he got some decent names over there he can make the fight with. So if he shortchanging PBC fighters to make those fights, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of fucked up in my opinion, because you kind of slowing up the career of Shakur Stevenson. Yeah. But it's also still understandable as a business, from a business perspective, which is why I want to talk about the business, because you got to be fair on both sides of it. If we can say PBC is doing what they supposed to do when it comes to their fighters' careers by taking all the in-house fights and clean their side of the street first, you kind of got to get Bob Burnham that same you know what I'm saying, credit. You got to give him the same credit for having that same plan. Only difference between Bob Burnham doing it and PBC doing it this time is, I still think it benefits Frank Martin in a way, because like you said, he still has the big money fights. He still has the Tank Davidsons over there of the world. He still has the Issa Cruz's over there of the world, who still can be a big market fight. I don't see nobody being that level of payday for Shakur Stevenson other than Lomachenko possibly. But Lomachenko already proven that he want that smoke, because he was actually the mandatory for the WBC before they decided to make Frank Martin the WBC mandatory. I'll say this real quick. I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. This fight was mandated by the WBC, right? So I'm gonna try to kill the whole ducking thing right now with this one thing. If this was mandated by the WBC for this fight, this was, you know, sanctioned by the WBC. If I'm Frank Martin, you know what I'm saying, and they did underpay me, I would just wait for the fight to go to purse bid. Because when you purse bid, they have a set rules in place on purse splits for a purse bid. So if I'm Frank Martin and they actually are underbidding, only offer me $1 million, I wouldn't pull out the fight. I would just, you know what I'm saying, not take the initial contract and wait for a purse bid. Now, if it's true, like I said, all this shit is rumor right now. Nobody really knows what's going on except for the people behind the scenes. If it's true that Frank Martin pulled out of the fight completely from fighting Shakur Stevenson, my opinion, that's a duck. You ducking that man, in my opinion, because it's a sanctioned bout. So you know you have that fight, you know it's a championship level fight, and you know it's going to purse bid. Now, if he just pulled out of negotiations, you know what I'm saying, that's not a duck. That means he's not liking the money they're offering him, and he's just waiting to get the PBC able to be able to make the purse bid on the fight and take the whole rights of the whole fight. What you think about that? Which one do you think is more likely of? And do you think I'm kind of close to it?
You took the words right out of my mouth, because when you was making your point, I was thinking that if it's not a fight lined up with Tank Davis that they trying to make behind the scenes, is the reason he pulled out. And if he pulled out completely, if he knew that they the mandatory and that it was gonna go to purse bid and he just pulled out, then that is a duck, because you at least wait to go to purse bid and see how the numbers gonna fall, because most likely in a purse bid it would have been 60-40. People don't understand, but a purse bid, what happens is all the top promotional banners bid on that fight. So they may get up to $10 million for that fight. And if you got a 60-40 split and PBC or Matchroom or somebody offers more money than Top Rank, and they say, we'll pay $10 million to have this fight, that's $6 million for Shakur and $4 million for you. So you at least go through the purse bid to see how it falls and see how the number we get and how interested people are in the fight, because any promotional banner can jump in. So if he jumped out of that fight without going, and if a purse bid was upcoming, that is a duck, unless Tank Davis and him agreement behind closed doors and he got that fight on the table. If it ain't Tank Davis fight, he should be concentrating on making that Shakur Stevenson fight.
Yeah, but will Tank Davis even take that fight? Tank Davis has come out of his little small stint he did in jail or in prison. You know what I'm saying? We take a Frank Martin fight on that where he won a warm-up fight. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of people criticize Tank for not fighting African Americans. Did they even fall into Tank's, you know, picking up opponents right now? It's a whole lot of questions going on, man. That's what I'm saying. A lot of questions. Man, I'm just gonna sit back and see what happens, how the chips fall. Because right now, jumping the gun and try to point the finger at who's wrong or who's not when we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, to me, it's not unfair for the fighters, but it's also asinine to go on that limb right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm not gonna call nobody a duck until I know for sure, you know what I'm saying, what's going on. Like I said, if Frank Martin go in here and fight a no-name, I'm asking you one more question real quick. Say if he go in here and fight Issa Cruz is the dude that they was fighting. It wasn't Tank the whole time, it was Issa Cruz. Will you give him the same? Would that be acceptable for you to downplay the Shakur Stevenson fight for Issa Cruz?
That'll be acceptable. Like I said, because Pitbull ain't no slouch. That's a hard fight, a tough fight. If he jump in and fight him, then I give. Yeah, it won't be for a belt. It won't be for a
lot less money.
Yeah, if it's for less money, still a tough opponent. Yeah, it could be a slight. I wouldn't call it crazy may sound. I wouldn't call it a full dub, but it would be kind of maneuvering to a more winnable fight. I would say. I wouldn't call him just a straight out dub, but he would be maneuvering to an easier fight. Which after watching Pitbull last fight, I mean, he is beatable. Even though he's tough and rugged, he is beatable. As his Shakur Stevenson almost seems to me kind of almost unbeatable at 135. You know what I'm saying? Even though I think, the Tank Davis of the world and the Haynes, they're going to get a fight. They're going to be tough fights, maybe. But Frank Martin going to have a hard time beating Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I agree. I think he have a hard time beating Tank Davis too, but I think Tank Davis probably, like you said, is worth the payday a little more than Shakur Stevenson is. But you anything else you want to add to this topic, man? I mean, I'm just going to sit back and wait.
I think we covered it all. I guess we'll find out in the next couple of days how this situation going to play out.
Most definitely. But with that being said, man, this is, of course, your favorite channel, man, CTB. It's Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy, Jay Slay. Say peace to him, man.
All right, everybody. Please hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, and comment. Let us know what you think of the video. You know why? Because we love boxing and you love boxing. But most of all, God, peace, and love, and we out of here. Take care.
Chin Tuck Boxing, baby.